Hi guys, and welcome back to this series on Python for MBAs, managers and marketers. Now I know I've been away and I know that you've been eagerly waiting for me to do more videos in this series, and from that I've understood that yes, this is something which is very important to you because you've realized that yes, in these times, you as an MBA, you as a future business leader, you need to learn these skills. You need to get savvy with the digital skills. And so I will be extending this obviously. And in the last video, I had helped you write your first basic program. And after that video, I helped you understand that how exactly does the execution of a program work. Now, in this video, I would be sharing with you something more about variables and something which is very important called the data types. Now, you've already seen that we need to use variables. Variables are very important if we need to make good Python programs. Now, here is the thing. I would be writing something as x is equal to 2. So I have assigned the value of 2, which is an integer, to x. Now, suppose I go ahead and say print x. And if I run this, my output has to be 2, which is right here. That's great. Now, further, I would do something of this sort. Y is equal to 2. Now, if you observe, I have created y in the quotes. And now if I were to do this, print x comma y, and I would execute this file, it would still output 2. Now let me change this a bit. Let me say that, okay, instead of y is equal to 2, I'll put y is equal to 30. And let me print these two things out. Print x plus x and print y plus y. And now here is something which you'll observe. Here is something which is very interesting, which you'll observe. I'll execute this code. Okay then. If you see this output over here, right up here, right below here, in fact, I should say, let me just execute it one more time so that you can see it in your frame properly. I'll execute it again. Yeah, okay. So now you can see this output over here. So what exactly has happened over there? When we've done x plus x, which is 2 plus 2, the output is 4, which is what you'd expect. But when we did y plus y, the output which you might have expected, or some of you might have expected, would have been 30 plus 30, which is equal to 60. However, the output is 3030. Here, the reason for that is because x has been defined as an integer. Whereas because in y, while we have used the integer, but around it we have used quotes, which means that y, this variable, is no longer a int or integer variable. It is in fact a string. So this 30 is being considered as a string. Now, if you want to see that what exactly is this, then I would just go here and I'd do another thing. I'd say print, or I'll just use the same print statement so that I don't have to do it again and again. So I just do this one thing, print type of x, okay, and print type of y, and I'll remove this argument as well. Now when I execute this command, what you'll see is that is exactly what it is. That I'll execute it one more time so that it's there on your screen properly. Yes, if you see this now, it is basically saying that x is basically an integer, which is what I had informed you, whereas y is not an integer, though it looks like an integer, but because it's inside a quote, therefore it is being considered as a string. And when you add two strings, it will do the operation of what we call concatenation. It will attach those two strings one after the other. Now, one more thing which is important for you to understand, that how does the program understand that this is a string whereas this is an integer? Here is what we call the implicit declaration. Had this been any other programming language, for example C or C++, for you to inform the program that hey, x is an int, you would have to do something of this sort, that int x is equal to 2, whereas stry is equal to this value. This would have been true for any other programming languages. However, Python is a much more superior, much more sophisticated language than all of those, and therefore it is also slightly easier because it is intuitive. So while this int and str, it is called an explicit declaration, here in this language Python you can do with what we have called as implicit declaration. Now one more thing, you would ask that, hey, if instead of double quotes, what if we used single quotes? Now we can try the same thing over here. Suppose instead of this I say single quotes and I execute this again. You'd observe that it also accepts single quote as a string. So even if you use single quote or you use double quotes, it will be the same thing. You can use either of the two and it would be considered as a string. Now there is a third thing which we can do. So here we can do z is equal to 5.2. Now as soon as I've introduced a decimal point, the data type changes. Now this is no longer an integer, but it is what we call as this thing. And I run this program. It is what we call as float. I'm not sure if you're able to see this. Let me just play it again, because so here you can see that as soon as we introduce a decimal point, we have what we call a float. And now if suppose we were to do another operation on this, say print z plus z, then it should do a proper sum, which is 10.4, which is exactly what we're expecting. That yes, when it's a float, when it's an integer, it would perform all the normal mathematical operations. So from this video, I hope you have understood three things. That one, there are these three basic data types, which is the int, the string, and the float. One. Point number two, you would have understood that when you add two strings, then it would perform the operation of concatenation, which is what I had shown you. And the third thing is that whenever you want to find that what is the type of a variable, you need to use this command, which is type command. So in the next video, I will be sharing with you some more complex data types in Python, which is a list. And from there, you would be able to see that how you can use this language in your day-to-day MBA operations, in your day-to-day work at your job after MBA, and when you are a successful and growing marketer. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks a lot.